Imagine this. You are standing on the Giza Plateau under the scorching Egyptian sun, where the dry and hot desert wind carries the finest particles of sand. And before you rise three majestic pyramids, those of Cheops, Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure. These gigantic structures have stood here for more than 4,600 years, having withstood the harsh test of time, destructive sandstorms, earthquakes, and numerous human interventions over the centuries. The Great Pyramid of Cheops is the most grandiose of them, consisting of approximately 3 million stone blocks, each weighing on average 2 to 3 tons, while individual granite monoliths in the King's Chamber reach an impressive 80 tons. Its original height was about 146.6 meters, and for nearly 4,000 years, it remained the tallest man-made structure on Earth until it was surpassed by medieval cathedrals. But how did people of the Bronze Age, without modern cranes, wheeled mechanisms, iron tools, or explosives, manage to create such an incredible colossus? Or was it not the work of people from that era at all? What if these pyramids appeared long before the flourishing of Egyptian civilization, and the ancient Egyptians merely discovered them, carefully restored them, and adapted them for their own religious purposes? Or perhaps they are the legacy of beings from other planets who visited Earth in the distant past and left these monuments as an eternal message. This idea has captivated minds for many decades and continues to inspire researchers, writers, and enthusiasts. Back in the 1960s, Swiss author Erich von Däniken, in his famous book, Chariots of the Gods, suggested that the gods described in ancient texts were actually astronauts in spacesuits who descended from the heavens in fiery chariots or flying machines. The pyramids, in his version, could have served as landing platforms for spacecraft, navigational beacons for orientation in space, or even powerful energy installations harnessing hidden forces of Earth and the cosmos. After all, the pyramids of the Giza Plateau are unique on a global scale. In no other ancient culture of that period do we see anything comparable in grandeur, precision of execution, and astonishing durability. Neither the Sumerians of Mesopotamia, nor the early Chinese dynasties, nor the civilizations of the Americas created analogs with such mathematical harmony and engineering complexity at the same time. Why exactly here, on the banks of the Nile, and at exactly that time, did such a wonder emerge? Let us examine the mysteries that still lack a complete, unambiguous explanation in science and cause many to wonder. Could this truly be evidence of extraterrestrial intervention, or a lost, highly advanced civilization that existed long before the history we know? First mystery: the phenomenal precision of orientation and alignment. The Great Pyramid is oriented to the cardinal directions with an error of only about 3 arc minutes. That is less than 0.05 degrees. For comparison, many modern buildings constructed with laser instruments and high-precision equipment sometimes have a greater error. The base of the pyramid is perfectly leveled. The height difference at the corners is only a few centimeters over a side length of more than 230 meters. How was this achieved without compasses, theodolites, or satellite navigation? Some scientists suggest the use of astronomical observations of stars or solar shadows, but in the dusty desert atmosphere, achieving such precision at night or in conditions of limited visibility seems extremely difficult and almost unbelievable. Second mystery: embedded mathematical constants. The proportions of the pyramid remarkably reflect fundamental numbers of the universe. The ratio of the perimeter of the base to the height yields a value very close to 2 pi, accurate to several decimal places. If the original height of the pyramid is multiplied by 1,000,000,000, the result is approximately equal to the average distance from Earth to the Sun, about 149 million kilometers. Furthermore, the pyramid is located almost exactly at the geographical center of all the landmass on the planet. If the mass of all continents is distributed evenly, the center of gravity falls near Giza. This appears as a deliberate and thoughtful choice of location by someone who possessed global knowledge of the sizes of Earth and the solar system long before the era of satellites, telescopes, and computers. Third mystery, the internal chambers and mysterious shafts. In the king's chamber, the ceiling consists of 9 massive granite beams with a total weight of hundreds of tons, installed with millimeter precision at a height of more than 60 meters above the base. The granite was quarried in Aswan, 800 kilometers from Giza, and transported along the Nile. The so-called air shafts, narrow channels leading from the chambers to the outer sides of the pyramid, were long considered a ventilation system, but they are partially blocked and do not fully reach the surface. However, the southern shafts are precisely aimed at key stars of that era. One at Orion's belt, associated in Egyptian mythology with the god Osiris, the other at Sirius, linked to the goddess Isis. The northern ones point to the ancient pole star and the constellation Draco. Is this a mere coincidence or specially designed astronomical sites for beings who oriented themselves by the starry sky and planned a return? Fourth mystery, the absence of inscriptions inside the Great Pyramid. Unlike most other Egyptian tombs and mastabas, there are no hieroglyphs, pyramid texts, colorful depictions of the afterlife, or direct mentions of the pharaoh's name. Only bare walls and a few disputed red ochre marks in the relieving chambers above the king's chamber. If this is the tomb of Cheops, why is there not a single direct indication of his name inside the main structure? Perhaps because the structure is much older than the official date, and Cheops merely adapted an existing structure for his needs, as many subsequent pharaohs did with older monuments and temples. Fifth mystery, age and traces of erosion. Officially, the pyramids are dated to the 4th dynasty, around 2580–2560 BC, but geologists such as Robert Schoch and John Anthony West noted water erosion on the Sphinx and surrounding blocks, deep vertical furrows, and undulating surfaces typical of prolonged exposure to heavy rainfall and running water. In the Giza Desert, abundant precipitation ceased thousands of years ago, the last time around 10–12,000 years BC, at the end of the last ice age. If the Sphinx underwent such erosion, then it, and possibly the adjacent pyramids, could have been created in an era of a much wetter climate, when the region was covered by savanna. Additionally, calculations of correlation with Orion's belt show that the perfect alignment of the pyramids with the stars occurred around 10,500 BC, a time when, according to legends, including Plato's accounts of Atlantis, a highly advanced civilization existed. Sixth mystery, stone processing technologies. The blocks are fitted with gaps of less than a millimeter, without binding mortar, creating a monolithic structure. Granite surfaces are polished to a mirror shine, with processing accuracy of 0.5 mm. Some marks on the blocks resemble cuts from modern circular saws or traces of high-speed tubular drilling. Copper tools of the Bronze Age are too soft for hard granite. Modern experiments confirm this. In quarries, unfinished blocks are found with perfectly straight holes and grooves inexplicable by known methods of that era, without the use of more advanced technologies. Seventh mystery, acoustic and possible energy properties. In the king's chamber, Sound resonates at frequencies of 110–120 Hz, close to the human heartbeat at rest. Some experiments, though controversial among scientists, show that inside pyramidal forms, food stays fresh longer, plants grow faster, and electromagnetic fields are amplified or focused. The pyramid shape possesses unique physical resonances. This is an established fact, but a complete scientific explanation of these properties remains open and sparks heated debates. Eighth mystery, a global network of similar structures. Pyramids are scattered around the world. In Mexico, Teotihuacan and Chichen Itza. China, pyramids of the Han dynasties and older ones. Bosnia, controversial but large megaliths of the Sassaka. Even underwater off Japan, the Yonaguni structures, terraced megaliths with right angles resembling pyramids, dated by some researchers to 10–12,000 years ago. Many of them are oriented to the stars or cardinal directions in similar ways. Is this a global coincidence or the trace of one ancient tradition, terrestrial or extraterrestrial, that spread across the planet? Ninth mystery, the big void inside the Great Pyramid. In 2017, the International Scan Pyramids project using muon tomography, a method employing cosmic rays, discovered a huge hidden cavity inside the Pyramid of Cheops, about 30–40 meters long, located above the Grand Gallery and having a volume comparable to a passenger airplane. This is not a small chamber, but a space of hundreds of cubic meters. Scientists still do not know its exact purpose. A simple relieving chamber to reduce pressure, a secret hall with artifacts or knowledge, or part of a complex energy system, as proponents of the ancient astronauts theory suggest. Why is it hidden so deeply, and why is there still no physical access? This discovery revived theories about halls of records or technologies unavailable in the Bronze Age. Subsequent scans have repeatedly confirmed its existence, but the mystery remains unsolved. 10th mystery, the golden ratio, phi, in the pyramid's proportions. Not only the number pi, but also the golden ratio, an irrational number phi approximately 1/618, found in nature, from seashell spirals to galaxy structures and human body proportions. In the Great Pyramid, the ratio of the apothem, slant height of the face, to half the base side or other key proportions yields a value very close to phi with an error of less than 0.1%. Some independent calculations show that the ratio of double the height to the base length accurately approaches this universal number. How could the builders encode this harmony without knowledge of higher mathematics and geometry? Proponents of alternative theories see in this a universal code from beings who knew the fundamental laws of cosmic harmony. 11th mystery, coordinates and the speed of light. The latitude of the center of the Great Pyramid, about 9,792,458 degrees north, exactly matches the value of the speed of light in vacuum, 299,792,458 m/s, if the decimal point is simply removed and considered as a coordinate. Does this appear as an incredible coincidence or a deliberate marker? Or did someone in deep antiquity know this fundamental constant of modern physics? This strengthens the idea that the pyramid is not just a tomb but a global marker or beacon for those who in the future could understand modern science and its discoveries. In recent years, advanced non-invasive scanning technologies, muon tomography, ground-penetrating radar, ultrasound, and endoscopes are revealing ever more secrets, showing that the pyramids hide far more than what is visible on the surface. In 2023, A 9-meter hidden corridor above the main entrance in the Pyramid of Cheops was confirmed and even visualized using a miniature endoscope. A narrow passage, possibly leading to other unknown chambers or structures. In 2025, 2 large air cavities were discovered in the Pyramid of Menkaure, behind the eastern facade, directly behind rows of polished granite blocks very similar to those surrounding the north entrance of the Great Pyramid. This hints at a possible second, hidden entrance, suspected for decades. Under the western cemetery near the pyramids, in 2024, ground-penetrating radar detected an L-shaped anomaly at shallow depth and deeper voids below, possibly entrances to underground chambers, tunnels, or an entire hidden system. These findings from the International Scan Pyramids project demonstrate the pyramids are full of surprises and unexplored spaces. Perhaps inside truly await halls of records, ancient artifacts, or even devices left by ancient visitors. Now consider a radical but logically consistent version. The pyramids could have emerged long before the Egyptians of the 4th dynasty, in an era about which we know very little. Imagine a highly advanced civilization, possibly extraterrestrial or a pre-flood terrestrial one, that visited or existed on Earth tens of thousands of years ago. They erected these monuments as eternal landmarks for navigation, repositories of knowledge, energy devices, or even portals for return in the future. After a global catastrophe, worldwide flood, abrupt climate shift, or cosmic event, surviving humans found these giants and perceived them as creations of gods. The Egyptians of the 4th dynasty did not build them from scratch. They restored, added smooth casing, laid additional passages, and used them as royal tombs. This explains the lack of gradual technological evolution. The gigantic pyramid appears suddenly, without numerous intermediate stages, and then the quality and size of structures sharply decline in subsequent dynasties. There are no detailed blueprints, calculations, or models, because the Egyptians inherited an already completed structure. Workers' villages, sized for 20–30,000 people, would suffice for repair and casing rather than creating such scale from nothing. Ancient Egyptian texts repeatedly mention a golden age of the gods who lived and ruled long before the first pharaohs. Of course, mainstream archaeology offers convincing and verified explanations. Skilled workers, not slaves but well-organized teams, spiral or straight ramps, wooden levers, wetting sand with water to slide heavy sledges, a lost branch of the Nile Aramat for convenient stone transport, copper tools combined with quartz abrasives. The Murrah papyrus details the transportation of white limestone, and workers' tombs show traces of heavy but honorable labor. But even among mainstream scientists, it is acknowledged. Some details, such as the precise lifting of 80-ton granite beams to height or absolute stellar orientation, remain not fully clear and require further research. Recent discoveries, hidden voids, new corridors, anomalies in the Menkaure pyramid, and L-shaped structures under the cemetery only add new questions and force reconsideration of old theories. The Giza pyramids are unique in their scale, precision of execution, and number of unsolved mysteries. They make us ponder. Is this the pinnacle of Bronze Age human genius, inspired by deep faith, outstanding organization, and millennia of accumulated knowledge? Or an echo of something far older, a visit from the stars, a lost, highly advanced civilization that left beacons for future generations of humanity? If aliens or ancient ancestors ever return, they might say, "We left you these signs so you would remember the cosmos and your true roots," or simply be surprised and smile. "Not bad, you managed it on your own without our help." What do you think? Human triumph or traces of something greater and more mysterious? Share in the comments your theories, favorite facts, and own hypotheses.